Today, we're going to dive into a technology that claims to do something pretty wild. Find a true consensus in the middle of our messy human conversations. It's a system designed to literally measure the energy of the ideas themselves. Let's see how it pulls it off. You know the feeling, right? We've all been in that meeting. It starts off great, a bunch of good ideas are flying around, but by the end of it, the best ones have just vanished into the noise and nobody's really sure what you decided. Okay, now let's just blow that problem up. Imagine that same meeting, but instead of a dozen people, you have 5,000 experts. How in the world could you possibly sort through thousands of complex, individual opinions to find out what you all actually agree on? That's the exact challenge this system was built for. So to really get a handle on the solution, we gotta first understand why this is such a tough nut to crack for computers in the first place. And it all comes down to the kind of data that we as humans create. This slide really gets to the heart of it. You see, AI is amazing with structured data. We're talking neat, clean, organized tables. But we humans, we think in messy, unstructured data. Opinions, stories, nuance. The whole point of this system is to bridge that gap without making us all live in spreadsheets. And then there's this other crucial tug of war. Do you spend your time exploring, trying to find every single possible new idea out there? Or do you focus on optimizing, picking the very best idea you found so far? When you have limited time, what the patent calls a tight interrogation budget, you simply can't do both perfectly. So how does this technology even begin to solve this mess? Well, it does it by creating a system that acts like the world's most efficient, most insightful meeting facilitator. I mean, this quote from the source material just nails it. The AI has to do what a really great human facilitator does. It has to keep pulling out new ideas, but at the same time, it has to balance that against the fact that, hey, the meeting needs to end. All right, so the very first step is for the system to figure out what on earth everyone is actually saying. And it does this by creating a literal map of the entire conversation. Let's break down how this works. First, it just vacuums up all the raw text from everyone in the group. Then, using natural language processing, it turns each and every idea into its own unique mathematical address. Think of it like a GPS coordinate for a thought. And finally, it cleverly flattens that super complex map into a 3D space that we can actually see and navigate. And what you get at the end is this incredible semantic space, a visual universe of the whole conversation. Ideas that mean similar things naturally cluster together. So for the very first time, you can literally see the shape of how the group is thinking. Okay, so we have our map of all the ideas. Awesome. But now we need to find the best spot on it. How do you efficiently rank thousands of different ideas without, asking thousands and thousands of questions? Get ready for this. Just to properly rank 10, only 10, options using traditional A/B testing, you would need to run a minimum of 45 different head-to-head comparisons. Now, just try to imagine scaling that up to 5,000 options. It's basically impossible. So yeah, that old way just doesn't work here. Instead, the system uses a much, much smarter method. Rather than testing every single pair, it uses a probabilistic model. It strategically tests just a few really smartly chosen comparisons, and then it uses that data to predict the overall ranking for all the options. And it's shockingly accurate. And here's the key. This simulated ranking gets better and better with every little piece of feedback it gets. It learns from just a handful of votes to predict the results of a massive election with thousands of candidates. And it finds the group's true preference incredibly fast. Okay, now we get to what is, for my money, the most mind-bending idea in this whole system. It actually borrows a concept directly from physics to mathematically measure when a group has finally reached a real agreement. The concept is called free energy. And yep, it's adapted from models that are used to describe how magnets work. In this context, though, it's a mathematical way to measure the amount of disagreement, or just plain noise, across the entire system of opinions. The idea is actually super intuitive when you think about it. High free energy is like heat. Everything is chaotic. Molecules are bouncing all over the place. That's disagreement. Low free energy? That's like ice. Everything is ordered, stable, and locked into place. The group has aligned. You've reached consensus. So, the whole point of this entire process, the grand goal, is to find the ranking of ideas that makes this free energy number as low as it can possibly go. When that energy hits rock bottom, you've done it. You have found the idea that represents the truest possible alignment of the entire group. So let's put it all together. What can you actually do with a tool that can map conversations, rank ideas at lightning speed, and literally measure consensus using physics? Well, the applications are kind of huge. Imagine shaping a company's entire strategy with real input from thousands of employees, or building truly decentralized governance for a blockchain project. You could finally make sense of mountains of user feedback, or even train AI systems that are just inherently more aligned with what we actually want. When you boil it all down, what this system really offers is a way to find that one clear collective signal that's hiding in an ocean of individual noise. It finds the true north for a group's priorities, and it's all backed by a mathematical model of their alignment. And that leaves us with one final, pretty massive question to think about. In a world that's defined by these huge, complex problems that demand we all work together, what could we solve if any group of any size could finally think with the clarity and focus of a single aligned mind?